First contact, first blood. The Crack's Imperium had conquered 17 star systems across 3 galactic arms. Their method was always the same: identify, infiltrate, dominate. For 8 centuries, no species had successfully resisted their expansion. The Cracks were the apex predators of the cosmos until they encountered humans. Supreme Commander Vral stood before the holo display, his 6 eyes narrowing as the reconnaissance data streamed in. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the blue light of the command bridge, the red markings of his high rank prominent across his chest plates. Such a primitive species. He clicked to his second-in-command, Strategos Krell. Look at them. They've barely left their own planet. The images showed Earth. Blue, verdant, beautiful. Scanning data revealed cities, infrastructure, and primitive spacecraft. Nothing that suggested a threat to the mighty Cracks. They fight among themselves constantly, Krell observed, mandibles twitching in amusement. Their weaponry is chemical-based, projectiles and explosives. Nothing that could penetrate our shields. Vral clicked in agreement. Send in the first wave. Take their northern continent as a foothold. Standard procedure: neutralize military threats, establish dominance, prepare for full colonization. The orders rippled through the massive Cracks. Mothership. Warriors moved to their dropships, checking weapons that had slaughtered countless species before. Their armor, resistant to energy weapons far beyond human technology, would surely be impenetrable to the primitive bullets humans used. Strategos Krell personally selected the landing site, a moderately populated area near something humans called Chicago. The plan was simple: establish a perimeter, eliminate resistance, expand outward. It had worked 17 times before. There was no reason to think Earth would be different. They were catastrophically wrong. The first Cracks dropships entered Earth's atmosphere at 0317 local time. Their cloaking technology rendered them invisible to conventional radar. But the humans had something the Cracks hadn't encountered before: a global network of infrared and gravitational anomaly detectors, installed after decades of UFO sightings, had finally convinced governments to take the possibility of extraterrestrial contact seriously. Captain Maya Chen was on duty at Northcom when the first alerts pinged. Within 90 seconds, she had confirmed multiple atmospheric entries. Within 3 minutes, she had authorization to deploy rapid response teams. Within 5 minutes, the president had been awakened. "Sir," she reported over the secure line, "we have multiple bogies entering controlled airspace over the Great Lakes region. They match no known aircraft signatures and are on a direct course for Chicago." The president's voice was calm, rehearsed. "Implement First Contact Protocol Alpha." Those 4 words activated emergency systems across the nation. Military bases went to full alert. Hidden missile batteries emerged from underground silos. And most importantly, the Global Defense Network, a military alliance secretly formed. After scientists had detected radio signals from the approaching Cracks fleet 6 months earlier, moved to counter-invasion posture. The Cracks never saw it coming. The first dropship found itself surrounded by fighter jets before it could deploy its troops. When it fired energy weapons, the jets scattered, and then returned fire with missiles specifically designed to penetrate advanced energy shields by shifting phase at the moment of impact. The dropship exploded in mid-air. Across the landing zone, the scene repeated itself. The Cracks had expected to face a disorganized, primitive response. Instead, they found themselves under attack from a military that had been preparing, drilling, and developing countermeasures for exactly this scenario. Inu. The mothership Vral watched in disbelief as dropship after dropship vanished from his tactical display. "Impossible," he hissed. "Their technology is nowhere near advanced enough." "Commander," interrupted the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the humans." The main screen flickered, and a human female appeared. Captain Chen's face was calm, her eyes hard. "Attention, alien vessel. You have engaged in hostile actions against Earth. Withdraw immediately or face total destruction." Vral's rage built as he stared at the primitive creature daring to threaten the Cracks Imperium. You cannot possibly hope to defeat us. We have conquered 17 worlds. Your species will be subjugated or eliminated. Captain Chen didn't blink. You've been warned. The transmission cut. Vral turned to Krell. Launch the second wave, all warriors. I want that human female captured alive so I can execute her personally. The second wave of dropships was larger, faster, with improved shielding based on the data from the first attack. They streaked toward Earth, adjusting course to avoid the human defensive positions that had destroyed their predecessors. But the humans had anticipated this. As the crack ships entered the upper atmosphere, they encountered something unexpected: a network of orbital defense platforms, hastily assembled from civilian satellites that had been military installations in disguise. Concentrated microwave beams lanced through space, targeting the dropship's propulsion systems. Ships tumbled out of control, burning up in the atmosphere or crashing into unpopulated areas where special forces teams waited to eliminate survivors. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Captain Chen monitored the battle alongside the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Reports flowed in from around the world. The cracks had attempted simultaneous landings on every continent, and everywhere they were being repelled. They underestimated us, said General Kwame, watching the tactical display. They thought we'd be easy prey. No, Chen replied grimly. They're testing our capabilities. This isn't their main force. She was right. Aboard the mothership, Vral reviewed the disastrous outcome of the second wave. Nearly 80% losses and not a single successful landing zone established. It was unprecedented in Crack's history. They were prepared, Krell said, his voice soft with shock. How? Their technology is primitive. Their society fractured. Vral's eyes narrowed. They knew we were coming. Someone has betrayed the Imperium. But there was no betrayal. Only human ingenuity. For decades, humans had theorized about how to defend against superior alien technology. Science fiction had become preparation. Movies and books about alien invasions had spawned real military contingency plans. Scientists and military strategists had worked together asking the crucial question: how would we defeat an enemy with technology centuries beyond our own? The answer was simple: asymmetric warfare on a global scale. As Vral prepared his third and largest attack wave, the humans struck first. The seeming disarray of human military forces had concealed a coordinated plan. Nuclear submarines surfaced near the mothership, launching not nuclear missiles but specially designed EMP weapons that targeted the massive vessel's shield generators. In the momentary vulnerability as the shields fluctuated, squadrons of stealth bombers, their existence unknown even to most humans, attacked with kinetic penetrators. Massive tungsten rods accelerated to hypersonic speeds. They punctured the mothership's hull in a dozen places. Alarms blared across the command bridge. Vral roared orders as internal bulkheads sealed, preventing catastrophic decompression. Krell rushed damage reports to him. 3 engine decks destroyed. Weapon systems compromised, warriors trapped in sections open to vacuum. Launch everything, Vral commanded. All warriors, all ships. Destroy their major cities. Render this planet uninhabitable. But his orders came too late. The mothership's communications array had been one of the first systems targeted. His commands reached only a fraction of the waiting fleet. Those ships that did launch encountered a gauntlet of defensive systems. Fighter jets armed with alien-killing missiles, high-altitude laser platforms, and in near-Earth orbit, the piece of human ingenuity that the cracks had most fatally overlooked: a network of kinetic defense satellites, repurposed from space junk collection systems, that fired clouds of ceramic pellets at incoming ships, shredding hulls and engines. By dawn, the skies above Chicago were filled with falling debris as crack ships tumbled from the sky. Emergency services mobilized to protect civilians, while military units secured crash sites, eliminating survivors and capturing technology. In the Mountain Command Center, Captain Chen watched the destruction of the third wave with grim satisfaction. But she knew this wasn't the end. They'll be back, she told General Kwame. And next time they'll come with everything they have. The general nodded. Then we'll be ready with everything we have. On the damaged mothership, Frail stood amid the ruins of his command bridge, rage building within him. Never in the history of the Imperium had a primitive species inflicted such damage. He would not return to the Imperium in disgrace. He would return with humanity extinct, their planet a smoldering ruin. Prepare for full invasion, he ordered Krell. I want every ship, every warrior. We will obliterate these humans from existence. Krell hesitated. Supreme Commander, perhaps we should reconsider. These humans have capabilities we didn't anticipate. The Imperium cannot afford to lose our entire battle fleet. Frail's response was swift and brutal. With a single swipe of his blade arm, he severed Krell's head from his body. Any who question me will share his fate, Frail announced to the bridge crew. Set course for the fleet rendezvous point. When we return, Earth will become the 18th conquest of the Crax Imperium, or I will personally ensure it becomes a graveyard for all humanity. As the damaged mothership limped away from Earth orbit, Captain Chen received the reports from their long-range tracking systems. They're retreating, an analyst confirmed. Heading toward what appears to be a rendezvous, point near Jupiter's orbit, Chen nodded. They'll be back, and next time they won't underestimate us. She turned to her communications officer. Get me the UN Secretary General. It's time to activate the Planetary Defense Coalition. The battle for Earth had only just begun. The final Stand Commander Drek of the Crax Imperial Fleet had never seen Supreme Commander Vrel so enraged. The command chamber of the flagship Inevitable Conquest vibrated with his fury as he recounted the humiliation Earth's defenders had inflicted. 3 waves, Vrel hissed, pacing before the assembled commanders. 3 waves defeated by primitives. The Imperium has never known such disgrace. Drek watched carefully. As the newly appointed strategos following Krell's execution, he understood that his survival depended on victory over these humans. Supreme Commander, I have analyzed their defense patterns. The humans demonstrated unexpected coordination and technological adaptability, but they have weaknesses we can exploit. Vrel's 6 eyes fixed on him. Speak. They anticipated our approach, but their defensive capabilities are spread thin. Their atmosphere can be weaponized against them. And most crucially, they care for their civilian populations. This can be leveraged. The War Council lasted 12 Earth hours. When it concluded, the largest invasion force in Crax history began its approach to the Blue Planet. 5 motherships, 30 heavy cruisers, and over 200 dropships formed a battle group that would overwhelm any defense the humans could muster. Drek personally oversaw the modifications to their approach. This time, there would be no direct assault. The Crax would use tactics they had never needed before: subterfuge, distraction, and psychological warfare. On Earth, the breathing space granted by the Crax retreat had been put to good use. Captain Maya Chen, now promoted to colonel, stood before the United Nations Security Council, outlining the global defense strategy. The Planetary Defense Coalition now includes 194 nations, she explained. Our unified command structure has eliminated previous geopolitical tensions. All military assets are now coordinated through regional defense hubs, with a central command established beneath the Urals. The Secretary General nodded. And civilian preparations? Evacuation corridors established for major population centers. Underground shelters expanded and stocked. Medical facilities hardened against attacks. But we must be realistic. Casualties will be significant when they return. Not if, a delegate noted grimly. When? Correct, Chen confirmed. Our long-range detection systems indicate a massive fleet assembling near Jupiter. Conservative estimates suggest we're outnumbered at least 20-1 in terms of ships and weapons platforms. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Then we need a game changer, said General Kwame, representing the African Union. Something they won't expect. Colonel Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes betrayed a hint of determination. R&D teams have been working with captured Crax technology. We've made progress. That progress was understating the breakthrough achieved in laboratories around the world. Scientists had discovered that Crax shield technology operated on quantum principles that could be disrupted by precisely calibrated gravitational waves. The challenge had been generating those waves with Earth's technology level, until a team in Bangalore had repurposed LIGO gravitational wave detectors into emitters. As the Cracks fleet approached Mars orbit, Earth fell silent. All communications ceased. Satellites went dark. Even thermal signatures diminished as cities implemented blackout protocols. Supreme Commander Vrail observed this with satisfaction. "They cower in fear," he told Drek. "As they should." Drek was less certain. "Or they prepare an ambush. Proceed with caution, Supreme Commander." The Cracks fleet split into 5 battle groups, approaching Earth from different vectors to prevent the humans from concentrating their defenses. The plan was elegant in its brutality. Simultaneous attacks on major population centers would force the humans to divide their forces, while specialized teams targeted military installations identified during the first encounter. What the Cracks didn't know was that humans had anticipated this exact strategy, because it was straight out of Independence Day, a film centuries old that had become part of military training simulations after first contact. As the first Cracks ships entered Earth's upper atmosphere, they encountered no resistance. No fighters rose to meet them. No orbital platforms fired upon them. The silence was more unnerving than outright opposition. On the bridge of his command ship, Drek felt the first stirrings of unease. "This is too easy," he muttered. He was right. As the Crack ships descended toward their targets, New York, Beijing, Moscow, London, Rio de Janeiro, the trap was sprung. From hidden bunkers across each continent, the repurposed gravitational wave emitters activated. The effect was invisible but devastating. Crack shields flickered and failed. Ships suddenly vulnerable found themselves targeted by conventional weapons, missiles, railguns, and laser platforms that had remained dormant until this moment. The skies above Earth erupted in fire as Crack ships, their primary defense neutralized, fell to human ingenuity. "How is this possible?" Vrail raged as reports of catastrophic losses poured in. "Their technology cannot defeat our shields." Drek had no answer, but he acted swiftly. Change of strategy. All ships, descend now. Land troops immediately, wherever possible. We must establish ground presence. It was a desperate gamble, sacrificing tactical advantage for any foothold on Earth. Some ships made it through the defensive screen, crash landing in fields, forests, and suburban areas. Crack's warriors poured out, eager to engage the enemy directly, where their natural armor and superior strength would surely prevail. But the humans had prepared for this too. In a suburb outside Atlanta, a Crack's dropship smashed through a neighborhood, carving a fiery trench through homes and streets. Warriors emerged, weapons ready, only to find the area seemingly deserted. They advanced cautiously through the ruins, 6-limbed forms moving with predatory grace. The attack came from everywhere and nowhere. Civilians, not soldiers, emerged from hidden shelters, not with military weapons, but with improvised ones, designed specifically to target Crack's vulnerabilities discovered from the bodies recovered after the first wave. Pressurized water cannons struck exoskeleton joints, where the natural armor was thinnest. Ultraviolet strobe lights overwhelmed the Crack's compound eyes, temporarily blinding them. And most devastating of all, common pesticides, sprayed in concentrated form, that attacked the chemical composition of their exoskeletons, turning rigid protection into brittle liability. Similar scenes played out wherever Crack's forces landed. They had expected to face military units, not prepared civilians employing asymmetric tactics. Traditional military forces engaged only when civilians had weakened the invaders, finishing them with conventional weapons. In orbit, the battle was going equally poorly for the Cracks. The motherships, their shields compromised by the gravitational wave emitters, found themselves under attack from a new threat. Astronaut pilots in modified EVA suits armed with thermite charges that they attached directly to vital systems before boosting away. Supreme Commander Vrail watched his invasion crumble, his rage giving way to something the Cracks rarely experienced: fear. "This cannot be happening," he growled. "We are the Cracks. We have conquered 17 worlds." "And this will not be the 18th, came a voice over the communications system. Colonel Chen's face appeared on the main screen. Your forces are being systematically eliminated. Surrender now and we will allow survivors to leave our system. Vrail's response was a scream of fury. He cut the transmission and turned to Drek. Prepare the final protocol. If we cannot have this world, neither will they. Drek stiffened. The final protocol was the Krax's ultimate weapon, a singularity generator that would create a localized black hole, destroying the planet entirely. It had never been used before, even in their most desperate campaigns. Supreme Commander, the Imperium might not do it, Vrail roared, or I will find someone who will. Drek hesitated only a moment before entering the activation sequence. On the lower decks of the flagship, the singularity generator began its power-up sequence, drawing energy from the ship's core. What neither of them knew was that their communications had been compromised hours earlier. The activation code was detected, analyzed, and understood by Earth's defense systems. The countdown to planetary destruction had begun, and humanity had minutes to respond. Colonel Chen received the alert in the underground command center. Singularity weapon detected on the Krax flagship. Estimated time to activation, 7 minutes. General Kwame looked grim. Can we evacuate? No time, Chen replied. We need to stop it at the source. She turned to her communications officer. Get me Captain Reynolds. In near-Earth orbit, a small stealth ship detached from the International Space Station. Its hull was covered in material that absorbed both light and radar, making it virtually invisible. Inside, Captain James Reynolds and his team of 6 Special Forces operators checked their equipment one final time. Target is the Krax flagship, Reynolds told his team. Objective is the singularity generator on Deck 7. Colonel Chen has provided schematics based on captured data. We have one shot at this, people. Their ship approached the massive Krax flagship, taking advantage of the chaos of battle to slip through defensive screens. Using a captured Krax access code, they docked at an emergency airlock, cutting through with plasma torches when the code was rejected. Inside, they encountered immediate resistance. Krax warriors, enraged by the human infiltration, charged, with blade arms extended. The battle in the narrow corridors was brutal and quick. 3 of Reynolds' team fell, but the Krax paid heavily for each human life. 4 minutes to singularity activation, came Chen's voice over their comms. Reynolds and his remaining team members fought their way deeper into the ship, following the schematics to the massive chamber housing the singularity generator. The mighty device was unlike anything humans had built, a sphere of impossible darkness surrounded by pulsing energy fields. How do we destroy this thing? Asked Lieutenant Park, the team's demolitions expert. Reynolds pointed to the control console where 2 Krax technicians worked feverishly. We don't need to destroy it, we need to redirect it. Understanding dawned in Park's eyes. They fired simultaneously, eliminating the technicians before they could react. Reynolds rushed to the console, his hands flying over the alien interface, as he input the commands Chen had prepared. On the bridge, Drek noticed the alert too late. Someone is accessing the singularity controls. Vrail pushed him aside, checking the system himself. His mandibles clicked in horror. They're reversing. The target coordinates, they're... He never finished the sentence. The singularity generator activated, creating not a black hole aimed at Earth, but one contained within the flagship itself. The massive vessel imploded, collapsing inward with terrible efficiency. The gravitational distortion pulled in nearby, cracked ships before the effect stabilized and dissipated, leaving nothing but debris where the pride of the Krax fleet had been. From his escape pod, Commander Drek watched the destruction in stunned silence. He had ejected moments before the implosion, one of only a handful of high-ranking Krax to survive. As his pod drifted, Earth's defensive forces systematically eliminated the remaining Krax presence. His communication system crackled. A human voice, Colonel Chen's, addressed the survivors. Attention, Krax forces. Your invasion has failed. Your leadership is eliminated. Earth is offering terms. Leave now and never return. This system is under human protection. Any future aggression will be met with immediate and total destruction. Drek stared at the blue planet below. How had it come to this? The mighty cracks, defeated by creatures they had dismissed as primitive. As the surviving ships collected escape pods and retreated from Earth space, he made a silent vow. The Imperium would never again underestimate an enemy, no matter how primitive they appeared. On Earth, the cleanup began. The damage was extensive. Cities had been hit, infrastructure destroyed, lives lost. But compared to the extinction they had faced, the cost seemed bearable. In the Mountain Command Center, Colonel Chen watched the cracks retreat on long-range sensors. "They'll tell others about us now," she said quietly. General Kwame nodded. "Good. Let the galaxy know. Earth is not to be trifled with." As humanity began rebuilding, they also looked outward with new purpose. The cracks' technology they had captured would accelerate their development by centuries. Already, scientists were adapting cracks engines for human ships. Within a year, the first human military vessels would venture beyond the solar system, not to conquer, but to establish a defensive perimeter that would ensure Earth never again faced invasion unprepared. The cracks had come to subjugate humanity. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would soon take its place among the stars.